Hey everyone, I'm Samurai Sam. This is part two of me going through every single one of my PlayStation games, and there's a lot to get through. I think we're going to need at least 3 parts to get through all of them. But here we go with part two. Here's Kagero Deception 2. This is another case of where I'm going to get to the first one in like maybe this very video. I just haven't gotten to it yet. Basically, the Deception games are games where you set up these rooms and booby trap them to try and kill the people who walk into them. I haven't really played them, honestly. I've just booted them up. It's a really interesting concept to me, so I do want to at some point. Fun fact, I got this game for free. This is because the store forgot to charge me for it when I bought a bunch of games. Here is Cardia, The World of Fate. This is a strategy RPG, and I can tell you basically nothing else about it other than it's got like 2D sprites. It's one of those kind of games. One of those styles of strategy games. Yeah, another one where I need to play it. Clonoa Dorta Phantom Isles, 2D, well, not 2D, 2.5D platformer by Namco. Basically, 2.5D means like it's most of the time it plays like a 2D platformer, but there are times where you can like take a different path to go to like into the foreground. Sometimes foreground, background stuff will interact with you in ways that don't normally happen in 2D platformers. Clonoa's got a lot of charm. I don't think I would personally call it like a classic, or like, at least for me, I thought it was good, but I didn't think it was like amazing. But a lot of people really like Clonoa. It's well made, solid game. It also got remade on the Wii. Knockout Kings 2000, boxing game, obviously. And Knockout Kings is, I believe, considered to be a very good series of boxing games, at least from this era. And I can't say too much about this one. I haven't really played it that much, but you got a lot of famous boxers on here. And I got this game for like nothing from somebody I know, I believe, so that's why I have it. I will try it someday, though. Kadelka, this is an RPG with when you get into the battles, they're kind of strategy-ish, where like your characters are on tiles and stuff, and basically it has like a gothic horror style to it. I've played this game like a few hours or so at the most, I think, but I don't care for it that much. It's very slow. And it's got some interesting things about it, but overall, it just didn't really grab me. I opted to just go straight for Shadow Hearts, which is like I guess you'd call it a sequel. It's the successor to Kadelka. Kadelka is in Shadow Hearts, so. Legend of Legaia, another one of the many PlayStation RPGs. This one has like a unique battle system where like you use like fighting game style inputs to use your attacks. And I haven't really played this one yet, so I'm looking forward to trying that at some point. There's also a sequel on PS2, which we will get to. Interesting, they call it new combat system based on fight games, not fighting games. They're based on fight games. That's kind of amusing. Legend of Mana. This is part of course, the Mana Seiken Densetsu series by Squaresoft. This game, I believe, is pretty unique. Like, I haven't played it very much, so I can't really describe it, but like you basically construct a world or something as you go. Kind of reminds me of Chaos Seed for Super Famicom, which I mentioned, but I'm sure it's very different. Game's got nice 2D graphics and a really beautiful soundtrack. Personally, I'm not the biggest fan of what I've played of the Seiken Densetsu series up to this point in my life. Like, I didn't really like Secret of Mana. Final Fantasy Adventure was good, but like I didn't blow me away. But I do definitely want to play this at some point. I keep saying that over and over again. Someone should drinking game. Like, how many times do I say that? You will not survive. Looney Tunes Sheep Raider. This is starring... No, that's not Wile E. Coyote. That's Sam Sheepdog. This is like a stealth game, like a stealth action game, I think, where like you're trying to like grab the sheep. And obviously it's Looney Tunes, so it's cartoony, silly, fun. And not really a very well-known, well-talked-about game, but a pretty good game from what I know. I haven't played it a lot, but seems like a cool game. I got it for pretty much nothing, and I'm very happy with that. Here's a big one here. We got Lunar Silver Star Story Complete. This is the version that comes with a bunch of goodies. There's also a standalone version that comes with just the regular PlayStation Jewel case. But this is a remake of Lunar on the Sega CD, which I showed you in a previous episode. Working Design's most popular series and game, I believe. And pretty solid RPG. Battle system is fairly by the books, but it has like a little movement thing to kind of spice things up. So like if your enemy is too far away from you, they might not be able to reach you in one turn to attack you, and vice versa. And Lunar stands out to me. When I played it, at least, it seemed quite challenging. Like, there was a lot of really difficult boss battles, and regular encounters with enemies were more challenging than the average RPG. Like, you really have to try rather than just mash the attack button to kill enemies and stuff. And yeah, it was pretty well done. I think a lot of people like Lunar more than I do. Like Silver Star Story, at least the first one. Silver Star Story, I mean, I thought it was good. I didn't think it was like one of the best RPGs. But here's Lunar 2, Eternal Blue, which is also in one of these big working designs cases, and it is 100% complete. This one did not get a regular PlayStation Jewel case release. Yeah, it's very similar in style to the first Lunar, and of course it's a direct sequel. But I think Lunar 2 is way better than the first one. So a lot of people seem to disagree with me, but I think Lunar 2 is just a lot better, just about every way. And it has like all the stuff I liked about the first one, just more. I like the characters more. I thought the gameplay was better. I thought the music was better. I just thought everything was better about Lunar 2, but that's just me. Yeah, Lunar 2 is one of the best RPGs on the PlayStation. Highly recommended. You should play Lunar Silver Star first. It is definitely worth your time. And then it'll make Lunar 2 that much more enjoyable. Here's Medieval. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but this is a 3D action game with some platforming, I believe, where you are, what's his name? Sir Daniel Fortesque. And, like, yeah, there's a bunch of different, like, weapons you can get and stuff, and I think there's some, like, a lot of secrets hidden in the levels and stuff. Played this game, like, a couple hours or so, and it seemed alright. Didn't really grab me too much, but I'll probably go back to it at some point and give it another go. It recently got a remake on the PS4, I believe. And then there's also Medieval 2, which I believe, honestly, is more the same, but, yeah, I haven't played it a lot, so I'm guessing it's just kind of the same stuff. Mega Man Legends. This is a 3D, I guess, action game, you'd say, with Mega Man. I think it has some, like, RPG elements, if I remember right. Yeah, it's well, no. All the depth of the hottest RPG, it says, but it doesn't say it's, yeah, whatever. Legendary gameplay, diabolical bosses, awesome weapons. It's got a kind of a weird control scheme. It controls differently than most 3D games. Like, I think you use I don't think this has analog support. I think you just use the D-pad and you basically strafe all the time, and I think if I remember, it's been a while, but I think you use the shoulder buttons to, like, change your perspective and stuff. I didn't really dig this when I played this very much. Played this for, like, a couple hours or so, but a lot of people do like Mega Man Legends. Maybe I'll give it another shot sometime. And then, of course, we have here Mega Man Legends 2, which is similar to the first one. I think this one is considered to be better, but I'm not totally sure. But, yeah, even if I don't like the first one, I'll try this one, too, and see if I like it any better than that. Here's, a big one of the most absolute famous PlayStation games of all time, Metal Gear Solid. This is a revival of the series that was started out on the MSX, and the series was dormant for a long time. Then they brought it back for Metal Gear Solid, and boy, was this a big game when it came out. Really set a standard, set the bar for, like, story and storytelling in video games, and a lot of really memorable moments, boss fights, and really clever game design, stealth action. The creator is very well known, of course, Hideo Kojima, and yeah, it's a really great game. I personally prefer the GameCube remake, Twin Snakes. A lot of people swear by this version. This version is still very good, yeah, I mean, you probably know all about Metal Gear. It's very, very famous, and for good reason. One of the best stories in a video game ever, honestly. Then we have Metal Gear Solid, the VR missions, which is kind of like well, in Japan, this was actually like a bonus disc, which shipped with a re-release of Metal Gear Solid, called Metal Gear Solid Integral, if I remember right. In America, in Europe, we just got it as a standalone game. And it's basically a series of, like, missions and stuff with the Metal Gear engine and such. And, yeah, it's pretty good for what it is. Like, I think it was a budget title when it came out. I don't remember. I got it for, like, nothing. And, yeah, it's worth paying nothing for. Fun game if you like Metal Gear, for sure. I wouldn't really recommend it if you didn't like Metal Gear, but, yeah. The gameplay specifically. If you play Metal Gear for story, you don't really like the gameplay, then it's probably not going to do much for you. Missile Command, this is one of many Atari kind of 3D remakes in the PlayStation era. And, yeah, Missile Command is that game. We've talked about it before on this series of videos where, like, there's missiles coming... No. You shoot the missiles. There's, like, asteroids and stuff coming down on the Earth, and you shoot missiles to destroy the asteroids before they land. And, yeah, it seems like a neat little remake. I haven't played it too much, but I will again sometime. MLB 99, this is a baseball game, and I believe, if I remember right, this is the one that has Vin Scully's voice. Yeah, Vin Scully does the play-by-play. Vin Scully is one of the most famous and revered baseball announcers of all time, so I think this game is kind of notable for that reason. Literally only booted it up once. I can't really comment on the gameplay, but having Vince Scully is pretty cool. Here we have Monster Rancher 2. Monster Rancher 2 are like monster breeding RPGs, and kind of a gimmick to the Monster Rancher games is that you can put in like any old CD, like a music CD or whatever, and like have a monster be created from it, or like another PlayStation game. Like a monster will generate, and you can start raising that monster and stuff. I've never really played one of these games. I keep saying that. I'm a bad boy. I'm a bad boy. But yeah, Monster Rancher 2 seems like a cool concept at least. But I'll see what I think of it someday, maybe 10 years from now. Mortal Kombat Mythology Sub-Zero. This is a action game, obviously a spin-off of Mortal Kombat, with some platforming as well. And it has like controls very much like the Mortal Kombat fighting games, but only like kind of changed a little bit to adapt to like a platforming action game. And a lot of people really don't like this game. I actually think it's underrated. Like, it's not a great game, and it's not for everyone. It's if you really like Mortal Kombat and the lore of Mortal Kombat specifically, then this game is worth playing, in my opinion. Some cool like story stuff in here for the Mortal Kombat universe, kind of world building and backstory for Sub-Zero and everything. And yeah, I enjoyed my time with this game. And yeah, if you dig Mortal Kombat and the characters and the history of it, then yeah, give it a shot. Mortal Kombat Trilogy. This is a game that is basically the second revision of Mortal Kombat 3, and it adds all the characters from the previous games that weren't in Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3, and adds like all the old stages and stuff. I don't know if all of them are there, but most, if not all of them, are there. And it's got you can actually play as the bosses too, which is pretty cool. Yeah, this game got the greatest hits version of this game is actually objectively better than the Black Label, because the Black Label version had a lot of glitches that got fixed in the greatest hits version. A lot of people prefer actually Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3 to Mortal Kombat Trilogy, because Trilogy is like not as balanced and such. I personally really enjoy Trilogy. It's one of those games where if you really like Mortal Kombat, you just like enjoy playing Mortal Kombat like casually. This is a game that's a good pickup. I recommend it. Here's MTV Sports Pure Ride, which I think someone gave to me for like nothing. And it's one of those extreme sports games, snowboarding and stuff. And I really don't know that much about it. I'll give it a shot sometime, and maybe if I don't like it, I'll just get rid of it. Here's Namco Museum Volume 1. I only have Volume 1 for the PlayStation. Volumes 3, 4, 5, etc. will have like A, M, C, O, S. You see this one has the letter N on it. This one contains a few Namco arcade games on one disc, including Pac-Man, as well as like some bonus features. And is there like a reason specifically why I have this? I don't remember. Bosconian, I don't know if is on. I don't know if that one's on like any of the newer collections. Yeah, I don't remember exactly like if I specifically bought this for a certain game, because obviously like Pac-Man and Galaga and a million other compilations. But yeah, these were probably pretty cool back in the day, because this was before I think the great flood of Namco Museum games, which had like all the games in one. Now we're gonna get to some Need for Speed games. We got Need for Speed 2. We've got Need for Speed 3 Hot Pursuit, and we also have Need for Speed High Stakes. And basically, the Need for Speed games are racing games. They actually have, I think, some of them have like a simulation mode, which is a little more realistic to like what real driving is like. But they also have like arcadey gameplay as well. And there's a lot of like being chased by the cops in this game and in these games. And I believe at least one of these involves like you can play as a cop, or maybe that's one of the sequels. I don't remember. But yeah, pretty fun racing games. Like not the best thing. Probably like the ones on PS2 are the best ones in the series. But you know, PS1 games are pretty solid too. Here's Nectaris Military Madness, which is I don't know if it's a port or a remake of the one on the TurboGrafx 16, and basically they're strategy games, sort of like Advance Wars if you know what that is. And I can't say too much about them because I haven't played them very much. But yeah, military strategy games, considered to be very good games. Game, singular, I'm getting used to, because I was just talking about Need for Speed, I think I got confused. NFL Blitz 2000. NFL Blitz is a arcadey series of football games by Midway, and very fun, like not realistic really at all, you know, over the top. And I haven't played the NFL Blitz games really all that much, but You know, I should really play them more because they're cool games. Definitely cool games. I do. Well, probably multiplayer is what I'll enjoy playing the most. Like sometime when I have someone over, I'll give it a shot and enjoy it. Here's NFL Game Day 2001, and also I have NFL Game Day 2003. This was a big competitor with Madden back in the day. Oh, there's Tom Brady on the front, very young Tom Brady. Yeah, they're 3D American football games, and they're I think they're pretty good. I haven't really played the Game Day games a lot. I've played mostly Madden in my life and NFL Quarterback Club 96 on Super Nintendo. Those are the football games I play. Oh, and NFL 2K, I've played those a lot too. I've never really played a lot of Game Day though, so I can't really compare it. Can't really compare it to those games. Here's N-Gen Racing, which I believe I found out literally, even in the internet era. I found out about this game from the back of an instruction manual of another game. This is a racing game where I believe you fly planes, like literally, like it's a racing game through the air and stuff. And that seems pretty cool. I haven't played it very much yet, but it seems like a neat little game. It's not worth very much money, so you can get it for cheap, and that's pretty cool. I'll play it some more some point and give more of an opinion. NHL 98. My buddy cousin Peter Scarrett recommended this game. I think this is like his favorite one on the PlayStation, if I remember right. Like I think I got this from him, and yeah, it's hockey, and it's apparently done pretty well on this particular version. And there's also NHL Championships 2000, which, if I remember right, has worse gameplay but better presentation. I think, like apparently they did a really good job with the Fox Sports license on this one. But yeah, at some point I'll play more of these sports games, but it's probably boring watching these videos, like me saying the same stuff over and over. Then here's the game I got recently, NHL Open Ice 2-on-2 Challenge. Now this is not your typical hockey game. This is very NBA Jam-ish. It's by Midway, and like it's 2-on-2, and very arcadey. Kind of a predecessor to the Wayne Gretzky's 3D hockey games, which came later on PlayStation and N64. I really liked those games, so this was a game I definitely wanted to grab when I had the chance, and I did so. Here's Norse by Northwest, Return of the Lost Vikings. This is a remake of Lost Vikings 2 on Super Nintendo, unless they came out at the same time. I don't know that. But this has like 3D graphics and voice acting and stuff, and it involves puzzle solving, switching between various characters to get through the level and using their unique abilities well. And I played through this whole game with a friend of mine, and it was good fun. Graphics kind of suck. Honestly, probably the Super Nintendo version is better than this, but the voice acting is pretty amusing too. It's a very comical game. I really like the ending of this game. The ending is hilarious, and I recommend you play it. Play the game. I'm not going to spoil it for you. Don't go looking it up on YouTube. Play the game, and the ending is totally worth it. Here is No One Can Stop Mr. Domino. This is a game that involves you. I think it's kind of like, I wouldn't call it an endless runner, but it's one of those games where like you're automatically moving, I think, and you're basically going through like obstacle courses, and you're trying to not get stopped. It's called No One Can Stop Mr. Domino, but as Icarus said, basically everything can stop Mr. Domino. Like, this game is hard, and like a lot of things get in your way and stuff. And apparently it's not a great game, but it's like a decent game, and it's not worth too much. So, fun little quirky, unique title on the PS1. Here is Oddworld Abe's Odyssey. This is another one of those platformers with like intentionally stiff controls, kind of one of those Prince of Persia, Blackthorn, Out of This World, flashback style, like cinematic platformers, and much like Heart of Darkness, which we saw in the last video. And this is one of the more successful games in that genre. And he plays this charming little alien named Abe, and he finds out that his factory that he works at is going to try and kill and eat him and all his friends. So basically you try to escape and save as many friends as you can. And this game's got a lot of personality. It's very difficult. A little frustrating at times, but fun game, unique, really cool atmosphere, and like not really that much quite like it. Kind of humorous, but also like well done, like actually, serious world building going on here and stuff. And yeah, pretty cool game. And then here's the sequel, Oddworld Abe's Exodus, and I think this is better than Abe's Odyssey. They added some features to improve quality of life, like you can save anywhere, which is appreciated in these games. And there's like more abilities and more ways to free your friends and stuff and control the environment. Oh yeah, one of the cool things about Oddworld is that you have an ability to take control of certain enemies, which is pretty cool. Makes the game more varied and very amusing. I remember the first time I played Oddworld Oddysee, and I was just very amused by the fact that you can take control of enemies. And I believe there's also a fart button too, which is very amusing. PacMan World. This is a 3D platformer starring everybody's favorite yellow circle, and Pac-Man has. It's kind of Mario-ish. It has certain sections of levels that play more like classic Pac-Man and has the original Pac-Man on it. And it's got a nice soundtrack by Tommy Tallarico. I tried playing it once, and the gameplay... Well, I've played it a couple times, and seems alright. There was one part I remember that I got a little frustrated with. I don't remember what it was exactly at this point, but yeah, I'll play more of it at some point. There's also a couple sequels on the following generation of consoles. Parappa the Rapper, famous game here. One of the early popular rhythm games back when the genre was young. And this game's got really good style, good humor, unique graphics, and memorable song lyrics. I really like Parappa and want to love Parappa, but it's hard for me to love Parappa because the gameplay is really awkward. The timing of the notes is really specific and to me, unintuitive. And the game doesn't give you feedback as to whether you were too early or too late when you press the button and you get it wrong. And it seems so often that you're pressing it at the right time and it just doesn't give you credit for it. And it's weird. I don't get it. But maybe at some point. I've tried it a few times to get into Parappa, and maybe I will again. I suck at it. I don't know what it is. I just suck at the game. Maybe that will change. I don't know. Parasite Eve, Squaresoft game, and kind of a very unique story and setting, and some type of RPG. I don't remember exactly how the gameplay works. I think it's strategy-ish, but I don't remember. I can't comment too much on it. I know it's pretty unique, though. And I also have Parasite Eve number 2. The series did not continue after the PS1. There's only these 2 games. And I don't know how different 2 and 1 are from each other. It says here that the customizable are a new real-time battle system. So I guess it is different in some ways, but I can't attest to it from personal experience, unfortunately. Here we have Persona 2 Eternal Punishment. This is actually, in a way, it's the 3rd Persona game, and they really could have called it Persona 3, because it's kind of the second part of Persona 2. The first part was Persona 2 Innocent Sin, which did not get released in America. Instead, we got this one. The beginning of this game recaps you on all the events of Innocent Sin. And this is a very unique RPG. This is before Persona got really huge. So this is before the whole school setting, before the whole calendars of events where you have to go through one day at a time. It's very different from those games. It's a little bit more of a standard RPG, but definitely with it's got the Persona thing. It's still got the Velvet Room and Fusion and everything. Definitely this one, from what I heard, has some rough around the edges stuff that's common in RPGs of this era, like frequent random battles and stuff like that. I played a lot of Innocent Sin on the PSP, but I didn't beat it. At some point, maybe I will. I don't know, and then I'll give this one a shot, perhaps. At least the story interests me. Here is Pitball, the only sport in the 23rd century. Too bad I won't live to the 23rd century to find out. Or will I, actually? Will I have a chance to live? Because if I live to be... I could theoretically live to the 22nd century, but not the 23rd. So, yeah. This is a kind of a futuristic, unrealistic sports game, and I think it involves getting the ball in the other team's goal or something. I don't remember exactly, but I think that's what it is. It's got some unusual gameplay mechanics like bribing and stuff. Seems kind of interesting. I don't know how good it is, but I will play it at some point. Ooh, we got 3 good games here. We got Point Blank, we've got Point Blank 2, and we've got Point Blank 3. These are light gun games by Namco, and really enjoyed these games in arcades, and these home versions do not disappoint. Definitely worth getting the Namco GunCon controllers to play these games at home. Basically, you do a lot of these brief missions where you have to shoot things in a certain way, or certain things, and shoot some things and don't shoot these other things. And it's a great, fun, arcadey shooting game, and good for 2 players as well, if you have 2 gun cons, which I do. And definitely recommend it if you're into that sort of thing. Here is Pong, another one of those remakes of Atari-era games, and seems like a fun little twist on Pong, a lot of different settings and little twists on the gameplay and stuff. Cheap game, probably worth owning if you like classic old school games like that. And here's Qbert. I believe this 3D remake is not considered to be a particularly good one, but I do kind of have a thing for Qbert, so I'm happy to have this nonetheless. Like, yeah, I don't have too much to say about it. Qbert with 3D graphics, probably not done as well as they could have been, but whatever. Here's Poipo. This is a kind of an obscure Konami game. It's kind of like an arena. I don't call it a fighting game, but it's an arena like battle game where like you control your character freely and you pick up stuff and throw the stuff at the other players, and kind of multiplayer focused, I think. Like one of those games you want to have the multi-tap for. Can't say too much about it. There was a sequel that came out in Japan and Europe, but not America. Sad face. But yeah, at some point when I have friends over, I'll probably suggest it and see how it is. Here is Puzzle Star Sweep, or probably better known as Star Sweep, or better to know it as Star Sweep, because they added the word puzzle for some reason for the localization to tell people what kind of game it is. This was a budget title, and very obscure, in like a game that's worth like nothing in terms of money, but actually quite a good puzzle game. It's one of those, it's kind of Tetris-ish, well, you know, one of those Tetris versus style puzzle games, but very different. It's like you have these vertical like columns of different colors, and they have like stars on either side of them, and you have to match up the stars, which is very different than like the square shapes. They're all rectangular. That's the word I should look for. The pieces in this game are like all rectangular, and it makes the stacking very different than any other puzzle game that I've played, really. And yeah, it's pretty fun. Recommend it if you're into that sort of thing. This is R-Types, which is the first two R-Type games. Not too much to say about them. I've talked about R-Type on this before, this series before, and you know, they're pretty solid shoot 'em ups, challenging. They involve like this thing that you control that you can shoot out and like have behind you and stuff, like a special option, like that's like separate from your own ship. And then there's R-Type Delta, which is an entirely new R-Type game, and you know, carries on the same basic gameplay, but like, you know, with more stuff, more content, more gameplay, and yeah, seems pretty cool. I have to actually play it to give an opinion, though. Ridge Racer Type 4 is the only Ridge Racer game I have in my entire collection, believe it or not. These were popular racing games back in the day by Namco, yep. And honestly, I can't say too much about it. I got it for cheap, and at some point I'll give it a shot. Saying that way too much. Razor Freestyle Scooter, I just got this recently for basically nothing, and it's I like Tony Hawk, so this game kind of plays that way. And, you know, I'm kind of interested to see a little take on the Tony Hawk gameplay formula. Not too much to say about Razor. It's not, like, considered a great game or anything. But, you know, I like Tony Hawk in those types of extreme sports games. Ray Crysis Series Termination. This is part of... I looked at a game called Galactic Attack in the Saturn episode. This is the same series. Basically, it's one of those shoot-'em-ups where there's stuff, like, on your main... on your level and also below you, so you have a separate shot for stuff below you. It's that kind of game. I can't say too much about this game specifically, but yeah, it's a cool series. And also part of that series is Raystorm. Actually, Raystorm came before Ray Crysis. And yeah, more of that type of gameplay. Lock-on lasers and your regular shot. And localized by Working Designs, which I always like. Here is Rhapsody, a musical adventure. This is kind of a casual strategy RPG, very anime, and it's got like it says, musical adventure. There's a lot of music in this game and singing. The voice actors sang a lot, and it has a lot of humor, it seems, in this game too. Seems quite charming, and I'll give it a shot sometime. Seems just a little bit different than most of the stuff that came out on the PlayStation around that time of that genre. And here's Rival Schools United by Fate. This is a, well, 3D-ish, like maybe 2.5D. Well, it says 3D tag team fighting, but I think it plays more like a 2.5D kind of fighting game. But this is by Capcom, one of Capcom's lesser-known fighting games, really. And it's a lot of fun, actually. I haven't played this one too much, but anytime I've played this game, I've enjoyed it. And I really should get into it a little more. And a couple characters from this game were in future crossover games, like Capcom vs. SNK and such. And yeah, definitely want to check out if you like fighting games, for sure. There's also a sequel on the Sega Dreamcast, which we will get to in a future episode. Road and Track presents the Need for Speed. Not too much to say about this one. This is the very first Need for Speed game. I've already talked about Need for Speed in this video. And it's probably obsolete, honestly, compared to the sequels. No analog support or anything. Road Rash 3D. Road Rash games are fun. I talked about those on the Genesis episode. And a Genesis episode, I should say, because there was more than one. And basically, Road Rash are, they're motorcycle racing games, and the cops come after you, and you can hit people with your stick and stuff. And fun game. Then here, I think this is going to be the last one of this video. Here's Rollaway. This is a puzzle game, sort of. I guess you'd call it. Yeah, basically a puzzle game. You literally control like a rubber ball, and you're on these platforms that are suspended up high in the air, and you're trying to find a way to get to the exit. And I haven't played it too much. I've played a few levels of it. Seems like a cool game. I will definitely 100% play this at some point. Cool stuff. And I think that's going to be it for this video. A half hour has gone by, and we are still... Yeah, I think I can probably knock off the rest of the PlayStation library in part 3. So stay tuned. Until then, this has been Samurai Sam. Thank you for watching. Have a great rest of your day.